What's going on, everybody? Coach Stefan here. I'm with James. James, do you mind just introducing yourself? Maybe just giving people a background on like what you do for work, kind of your home life, so people understand kind of who's made the transformation, who we're chatting with.
Sure. Yeah, so I'm James. I work in digital marketing. I work from home. So, in terms of, I guess workout regimen or anything like that, like it was initially challenging to step away from work and family life and put a commitment into it.
Yeah, because how you got kids? How many kids you have?
I got a daughter, just one.
All right. So you got a little one, which can make it challenging. And I know your wife is in the program you're with Coach Mike, but your wife was initially joined with Coach Riley, and she's had awesome progress. Obviously, I want this to kind of be about around you. Um, I want to go over like where you were in the beginning because you've lost what, like 50 pounds so far, right? Roughly. So
Correct. Yeah.
huge, huge, awesome transformation. And when did you join? Because we're recording this in August of 2024. When did you join? Remind me.
I joined, I believe, at the end of November of last year.
Okay. So it's been, 8, 9 months. I mean, that's really good progress in a year. We've had clients that have lost 75 pounds, but they were heavier. So for what you started at, you look a night and day difference from your photos.
Yeah, it's
Um,
crazy.
yeah. But like let's rewind a little bit. So we know we had really good progress. But like where were you mentally and physically like when you first came to us back in November?
I definitely am a workaholic, and so my priority, before joining was purely work, and of course, take care of my family.
Yeah.
So, when it came to the end of the day, and it's like, oh, I should probably work out or things of that sort, I simply just didn't do it, didn't want to. So, in the beginning, I just got to the point where it's like I needed to make a change. Like,
Yeah.
you gotta rip the band-aid off. The beginning's gonna suck, but you gotta just take that initial step.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. So what do you think like, obviously you wanted to lose weight. That was like one of the biggest goals, but what about just like you as a whole, like your confidence and your energy, like what drove that change in the first place? Like you being like, I gotta make a change.
Yeah, I think it's more so, I guess, looking at uh the grand scheme of things, like, my daughter's young right now. I want to be around, as she's older and all these, events that happen and be someone that she's proud of, and also be an example for her. So, as you mentioned, my wife's on the program too, and we wanted to show her firsthand like how important physical fitness, eating healthy, things of that sort, are important.
Yeah, 100%. They are. And I mean, you guys are both setting an awesome example. Like you've invested your time and your money and everything into bettering yourself. And, actions speak louder than words, right? So I know she's one. She doesn't know yet, but when she gets older and she's like, starts looking around at all these dads, she's like, wow, my dad's kind of in good shape. Like they'll know, you know what I mean? Like
Mhm.
it's just a standard in the house. And I have a baby and a teenager. And so my teenager's like, yeah, I've seen some of these dads and like, yeah, you're crushing them. It feels good to be like, okay, I'm setting that good example. So, if you don't mind sharing, where were you weight wise and body fat, if you know your body fat percentage when you joined, and where are you now?
So when I first started, I think my initial weigh-in was 242. And then based on the initial plan I was on, I think I ended up having a higher caloric intake than I was doing. So it slightly crept up to, I think, to 245, like within the first month, but was within that range. Coming to today, I'm 191 this morning.
Yeah, yeah,
So.
huge. And you've gotten substantially stronger, right?
Yeah, so I guess on top of that too, I can't remember when I did my initial body fat, but I was at 30%. Recently, I think I checked in and it was like at 18, so almost a 50% drop.
It's
Um,
nuts.
yeah, and then in terms of like strength and stuff, I mean, it's night and day. Like I remember one of my first exercises was just a strict overhead press, and I struggled with just 45-pound barbell. I mean, that's definitely not the situation today. I've seen, basically growth or increase in weight in all the exercises so far.
Yeah. Yeah, and a lot of that, I mean, hats off to you, man. Like a lot of it has to do with you being disciplined, like showing up to your sessions, doing your workouts when Coach Mike's programming you on the app, right? Like going on your own, like nobody's doing it, right? Because you do hybrid, you do a little bit in person because you happen to live, local to where our team is. But a lot of your workouts you're doing online. Maybe walk me through that experience because I know a big like you go at least what I envision with the hybrid people is like obviously if you can go in and do some sessions with the coach, it's very powerful. But like a good majority of your workouts you're doing on your own. Is that correct or am I totally off?
Right now it's 50-50. I
Okay.
do
So half.
two,
Yeah.
yeah, two in person, two by myself. I mean, at this point, I could probably do it all through the app because Mike makes it that easy.
Yeah.
I think maybe the one benefit I could think of doing in person is that he really will push me. Whereas if I had to do it myself, maybe I wouldn't do that extra 5 pounds. I don't know,
Yeah. Yeah.
but
Yeah.
uh, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's the hybrid coaching's nice. I know like everybody has that option where they're, wherever there's not a lot of gyms that do it. But
Mhm.
the online portion is cool too. Obviously we're mostly doing online with people and we always tell our clients like it is in my opinion, it's setting you up to be more self-sufficient, right? Like you have to go on your own. And like you said, you're at the point where like you could do it. Not I'm never gonna argue and be like, oh, in person's this terrible thing that is like, there's benefits to both. Obviously, you get the best of both worlds right now, but I'm glad that you have lost the weight, you've gotten in better shape. Walk me through like how the app has been because I know you never worked with a coach doing online or hybrid before. Your wife does it, like the app, the communication, the nutrition, like were you a little bit hesitant at first, like how it all work?
Uh, wouldn't say hesitant. I think if anything, it provides more accountability for myself and also for Mike. Like when I need something or if I have questions, like. But I think right now it's almost like using it as second nature. Like when I wake up, the first thing I do, I'll do my macros. I'll just check in, see if there's any announcements or messages from Mike. Take a quick glimpse of what my workout looks like for this week.
Yeah.
But then I also like looking at the progress. I mean, obviously the progress photos that are built into it, but checking out the individual exercises, you can see your history, like
Yeah.
where you're at. So it's always a good reminder of where I came from and where I am today.
Right. Because you're at a desk job, you're at a computer, you probably check your emails and your calendar and your bank accounts, and it's that next thing, right? And I'm the same way. Like I use the app all the time when I train every day. So I basically do the same thing. I check my calendar, do a little bit of my morning routine. I always look the night before too to just, okay, what do I have tomorrow? But then I get that refresh the day of, and I'm like, cool, this is what I'm doing. And replaying it in your head before you go also makes you execute better when you show up to the gym. You're like, cool, I kind of know what I have. And so, yeah, at the beginning, just like anything new, it's a little bit new app, new whatever, but just how we open Facebook or Instagram without even thinking, it ends up
Mhm.
being like that. That's what I hear from a lot of clients. Like, I just open it up. Sweet. So you're constantly checking, hey, did my coach give me feedback? Did my, you know, so that's awesome that it's been transformational. And obviously, if you lose 50 pounds in 9 months ish, you don't do that except if you've been dialed in on your nutrition. So, that is a huge, huge, huge thing. How do you feel that's been? Because I think a biggest concern for a lot of clients is that we're going to come in, we're going to make them eat 6 small meals a day, chicken, broccoli, and rice, like a bodybuilder. We're going to cut out everything fun they ever wanted. I mean, how's that experience been doing the nutrition with Mike?
I think that was the one piece that wasn't in place when I first started. Like I would do the workouts, but everything else would remain the same, whether it be my sleeping habits or really being strict with my eating. It wasn't until February where I said, "You got to do everything, or it's just not going to work." But it's been great. Like I love the plan that Mike put out for me. I'm ending up eating more than I did previously, and it's just higher quality, better food.
Yeah.
I mean, I continue to lose weight, so something's working.
Yeah. Yeah. I think a lot of people assume that you just eat less to lose weight. And yes, there's a calorie deficit, but food quality plays a huge role into it. And that's, I'll be the first to admit, like, it's hard to give up the things we like, our comfort foods, and we drink less or not dig into the M&Ms at night. but it's a thing, right? And you even were in the program for a couple months, probably making some progress, but you're like, look, if I'm gonna do it, like I gotta fully dive in. And I mean, you did it. And then so if your weight loss started in February, from August, it's very quick, right?
Mm.
And like you said, you're eating more. It's not like super ultra restrictive, but you're even, I'm sure at this point too, like you're craving more of those actual whole foods and you feel better eating them and you have more energy. And so saying no to those things is probably easier now than it was in February, right?
Oh yeah, totally. I mean, I'm strict when I need to be, but like if I'm on vacation or something, I know that, you can kind of indulge a bit. But then once you're back, I
Yeah.
guess kick it all back in gear again. So
Yeah. Well, I love that. I give the people the analogy on my podcast a lot. Like we do that with money all the time, right? Monday through Friday, nothing's going on. You're like, okay, I'm not splurge spending. I'm kind of doing my thing. And then as you get close to vacation, just like you're like, all right, I'm going to do a mini cut or something. We do the same thing financial. Hey, babe, we're going on vacation in 30 days from now. Let's tighten down the spending. And then you go on vacation, you have fun. We do it all the time. It's like, yeah, do the same thing with your calories and you'll be just fine. And so I'm glad that you've developed these light bulbs that click because that's what we want, right? Just like I've told you and Amanda, like we don't want to train you guys forever and ever and ever. We know eventually you're going to go on your own. And so we want you to become self-sufficient and say, hey, I'm going on vacation. I'm doing this. How do I push and pull with the nutrition? And what should I do with my training? And so, you've been with us a while and so is your wife, and being able to figure out those nuances, they make a big difference, like long term, right? Last thing is like, how has the experience been as far as speed of communication, customer service? Because that's actually the number one complaint that I hear when I ask people, well, have you worked with a coach? And the people that have, generally, it wasn't a great experience. They're not working with them anymore. How's that been with you? Like prior to us, have you ever worked with a trainer?
no, no, never. This was the first in terms of like the experience and like the support. I mean, it's been great. I mean, I'm sure. Well, Mike and I are in pretty constant communication, but say if I didn't message him for an extended period of time, he would definitely be reaching out, checking in, and everything's okay, things of that sort. So
Yeah.
definitely takes care of his clients, or at least from my experience, and my wife's coach as well.
Yeah. Yeah, we're on the coaches a lot. So like, I mean, that's what you guys are paying for, right? And the number one downfall I see in the industry, unfortunately, is just like bad customer service. That's just easiest way to put it is like, hey, they're not communicating. My coach takes forever to get back to me. They're not explaining things to me. They're just like, try harder. I'm like, sometimes that's necessary, but most of the time there needs to be an explanation. And it sounds like not only have you lost the weight, I'm sure there's been other things too. Like, what about like confidence, energy? I mean, has it just been the weight loss, or is there other?
No, I mean it's across the board. I definitely feel more confident because when you, I guess, are heavier, you kind of have that. You feel this judgment, or all around you. You don't feel that anymore. Maybe hesitant to do some sort of activity for whatever reason. I wouldn't hesitate at all right now. I think what's kind of cool is that like my workout's primarily strength based. We do, a little bit of cardio, but not much of a focus. But I can go out for a run on the whim and feel okay. So
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, a lot of wins, man. A lot of wins. And yeah, we're proud of you. You've been putting in the work, you're working your ass off. And I mean, like results speak for themselves. The proof is in the pudding. But I'm glad that you've had a really good experience and your coach has been there, like giving you the knowledge and the guidance and kind of everything you've seen. And I'm glad you took the leap. That's like the hardest part for people is like just saying yes. I mean, obviously everything after and putting in the work. I don't ever take that away. But the initial, um, your wife was doing the program already, so I get that maybe that was a little bit of a push too, but nobody made you, right? You could have been
Mhm.
like, no, I'm good. I'm good. Because before, I think did you say you did some like CrossFit and kind of dabbled in some group stuff before?
Yeah, I mean, when I was like in a regular exercise regimen, it was CrossFit. But that was, I don't know, 10 years ago. So I mean, definitely a
Yeah.
long time since. So then deciding to make it a priority, definitely,
Yeah.
one step at a time. You gotta take the little wins, and then little by little it
Sure.
all accumulates.
Yeah. I'm very curious. How do you feel that like this whole process has compared to like going to CrossFit?
I, I personally, I I mean, I like both, but the more and more that I learn about, you know, the different lifts and things that Mike has taught me, I think I prefer this much more. You
Yeah.
get the same benefits, but like I mean, in some workouts I get winded lifting. Like it's still cardio, so
Yeah. We have a lot of people that come in, our cops and firefighters and stuff like that, that really want this like high intensity. And although we customize each program, it's like, no, you can have that. And like the group stuff's not bad, but I think it's like the scheduling thing that makes it really challenging. Is the number one concern I hear like, I was going to CrossFit until, versus right now, it's like, hey, it's all tailored to you. Like, and it's full responsibility. Like, oh, I missed the class. Guess I can't go today. Like, no, no, we're not going to be that dependent. We're going to sit there and say, I need to prioritize and I need to get my lift in. And so long-term consistency, it's, in my opinion, it's always better to not, uh, rely on a class, but like, I'm not totally against, I know Mike has his opinions on CrossFit. We're not
mhm.
totally against it. I think if you wanted to do it like, oh, I go every Saturday and I go and push it really hard on top of my structured strength training program, awesome, go do it. I used to do that for years, fun, community, whatever. But it's played a lot more into that too, because even when you were doing CrossFit before, there's some missing components like the strength, the progressive overload, not really the nutrition, but now you have this like all encompassing program. You lost 50 pounds in like 8, 9 months. I mean, that's really, really good, like really good. And, PRs and all that other stuff. So yeah, man, keep up the good work. We're proud of you. I really appreciate you jumping on and chatting. And I know this is going to help somebody else that's maybe a little bit on the fence or has, maybe they have 50 pounds to lose and they're kind of in the same boat. They're a dad, they're working at home and they're like, man, how am I going to make this work? Well, the last thing is like, what would you, if somebody was in that boat and they were super hesitant, like, what would you say to that person?
I mean, you just got to rip the band-aid off. Like you got to start somewhere. You know, I don't know what, what else you can really say. Just I would trust your process, Pursuit's process and the team. And I guess, you have people like myself and others who have definitely shown the results of those efforts.
Yeah. Yeah. You got to take the leap and you see in the group, like, it's not just you, right?
No,
Like
not at all.
there's tons and tons and tons of people getting transformations. And so it's good to know that like, okay, I'm in something that I'm not the anomaly. Like this is a process, probably makes you feel more comfortable about putting in the work. All right, these guys know what they're doing. And so, yeah, dude. So kudos to you. Appreciate you jumping on with me and keep up the good work. Okay.
Yep, sounds good. Thanks so
All right.
much.